Hi, I'm Melinda Van Fleet, and welcome to the Confident Conversations podcast. I'm a confidence and peak performance coach, best-selling author, and speaker who helps businesswomen develop confidence to believe in themselves, take action, and get results. This podcast shares authentic and transparent, thought-provoking stories, tips, and tools from my experiences, as well as incredible guests, so you can continue to build your confidence and live your best life. Thank you for joining me. Let's get started on this confidence journey. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me this week on the Confident Conversations podcast. I actually can't believe it's episode 100. Episode 100 of a podcast that has been an emotional, triggering, mind loop journey. It really has, more than I could possibly ever talk about or comprehend. And I have moved and grooved with the emotions, with the energy, sometimes sharing little bits along the way. And if you've been following this podcast for a long time, you know it used to be called Crush It in Sales. And then in January of this year, so January 2021, I changed it to Confident Conversations, which is a name I thought of and thought was a great podcast title for the direction that I was moving in. So anyhow, but when I just did my little save for GarageBand and saved the intro and created a new template, I went, oh my gosh, it's episode 100. So I'm personally celebrating. I am celebrating that I have really done a lot of work around this, a lot of energetic work, a lot of really trying to understand branding and also what it means for myself. And that is perfect for what I want to talk about today, what it means for myself. We have all listened to so many coaches and experts and all the things. Please raise your hand high if you are one of these people like myself who has paid money, who has spent time. And at the end of the day, sometimes you're like, well, yeah, maybe I get it. It's not really working. I'm still kind of stuck. I don't feel good about that. Does that really make sense? And it all goes into the bucket of confidence and figuring things out and what works for you and what you feel good about and not what someone else says to do. It's so true. But we all have our own journey in this. We all have our own journey in figuring it out for ourselves through trial and error. And sometimes it takes some people longer than others. What was eye-opening to me this past week that I've really had to process was I gave a presentation on Thursday. I came home on Friday. On Thursday, and I had used a tool that I recently discovered in the past couple months called Bank. And that tool is also on my website. You can go right to my website and take the 90-second analysis it's actually an assessment, I want to say. An assessment, it's free. It takes 90 seconds. It's super fast. And then you get this nice little PDF that shares some things about yourself and your values. And the premise of Bank is that not only are you learning about yourself and what your values are, whether you're an action taker, a nurturer, a knowledge, or a blueprint, but then also you're learning about other people as well and trying to do a better job of communicating, or if you're in sales, how do you work better with the other person too? So it's a great system. Obviously, I have it on my website. It's something I believe in. And it's something that's similar to an assessment that I did years ago when I was at Victoria's Secret that to me was life-changing and transformational. So when I discovered Bank a few months ago, I thought, gosh, this is but similar in vibe to this other assessment. And there's lots of assessments out there. I'm sure you would agree. But this one I just really like, and I like that it's easy and pretty clear and simple for people. What I took away from the presentation that I thought was interesting that I wanted to share is that my own bank style, which is nurturer, then action, then knowledge, then blueprint, is also how I present. It's just what keeps coming up. I don't have long-winded verbiage that goes on, and you might have already read it in a million magazines, and we know what magazines those are. I just don't do that. I keep very tight. I keep here's action points. And those action points are things that I personally do and embody and have been transformational. And then I like to have engagement because I care about people. It comes from a genuine, authentic place that I want to be able to let someone talk and I can listen or share, or if something that they may have a question on that can help them. So that nurturing side of me also comes out in presentations. So when I look at a presentation either prior or even in hindsight, because sometimes when you go live, obviously things end up evolving differently than what you had planned. That always happens, right? But I started thinking about it from the aspect of bank. And I'm like, gosh, I can ask for feedback and constructive feedback, which I did. And I would love to hear it because I always want to do better. But there's also an element of, this is just me. This is me. This is me as a presenter. I'm not going to load a presentation with a ton of facts and figures and knowledge because that's just not my style. That's just not me. That's not what feels good. That's not what comes out of me. That's not what comes through me. What comes through me is the nurturing aspect, which is the engagement, and the action tips. That's what comes out of me. So I can spend, let's say, money on more coaches, on more training, more time, more energy. But at the end of the day, that's not how I am designed. That's not how I'm wired. And I have to believe and trust that the perfect audience will find me and I will be an energetic match. So this all goes into the encompassing thought process that I talk a lot about, which is energy and being a magnet. So not everyone is going to like you because there may be people in the audience that were like, oh, that wasn't so great. She didn't load it with facts and figures and statistics. No, I didn't. That's just not my vibe. None of my writing is facts and figures and statistics. My writing is always story-based. And if you're into human design, which is something I infuse in my coaching, I'm a generator, a pure generator, 3-5. So the 3 is my lessons, and the 5 is what I share that to the world. So I'm living in my design. I'm living in my bank code. I'm living in those things, which makes my life easier. I can operate more from a standpoint of ease and flow, and then energetically, the people that are the right fit for me find me, and I'm helping the right people in the world. Because imagine, let's say you try to sell flowers to people that don't like flowers, right? It's just not going to change. They just don't like flowers. They're allergic to flowers. They smell funky to them. They give them allergies. They make them sneeze, right? So you don't want to be selling flowers to people that don't like flowers. It's just never going to work. So I'm living in my design. I'm living in my bank code. And you know what? That feels pretty good. So as I evolve more and more as a speaker, as a writer, as a coach, these are the lessons and the tools that I want to share with other people too. So they can also have that same sense of freedom, of ease and flow, and just feel good. and just feel good and know that things will work out for them. So I have a course coming up, Content Creation Success Strategies. It kicks off on September 15th. And these are things we're going to be talking about in the course. These are the things. And we're going to encompass mindset and tactical tools along with that. And I have not seen any other course that has both of these encompassed. Hence why I really feel called to create something like this. And then to kick it all off, I decided to do a free prelude masterclass that encompasses more of the manifestation and mindset that is infused into the modules. So, because there's not like one exact module on mindset and manifestation. So I thought I would do that for free, and that will be on Facebook. The link will be in the show notes for this podcast, and that will be on September 8th. So I hope you join me. If you are interested in private one-on-one coaching, please reach out to me, melinda@melindavanfleet.com. And until next time, I hope this podcast helps build your confidence. Thanks for listening.